Hello and welcome to my very impromptu video, hence the unbrushed hair, about my journey so far. Because what I really wanted to share with you in this video is my own personal journey with cacao. Now that I'm teaching more about, now that I have the accredited course for the cacao ceremony immersion training, and now that I'm starting to share that more and more, I felt like now would be a good opportunity for me to share a bit about my story. And this is a story that I do share within the training just for perspective for people, but I haven't really shared it that far and wide. So my journey really with all of this world um, began properly around 2017. Before that, going through school, I was very interested. I was really good at RE. I had a real interest in philosophy, although it wasn't taught at my school as a subject. Um, I used to go to this vicar group, which sounds really geeky. But I used to really enjoy going and having these philosophical chats over lunch as like a 14, 15-year-old. Um, and during that time, I also discovered yoga for the first time as well. My dad had a book about it, and he didn't practice yoga, but he did have a bit of a basic knowledge of it and introduced me kind of to it through his interest. And I'd always been someone who was deeply, deeply connected to nature from the age of around 8, I think I would have been. I started windsurfing. A very bizarre hobby for someone who lives in a landlocked county. And I turned out to be quite good at it. It wasn't that I was strong. It wasn't that I was even particularly good at windsurfing. But what I did seem to be good at was reading the weather, reading the wind, reading the water, which all now starts to make sense. I um, I loved actually when I was windsurfing this opportunity of it being really subtle conditions and having to really test my knowledge rather than my kind of brunt force to be able to see me through races. And as I say, I happen to be quite good at it. So that was a big plus. And water has been a theme that then carried on through my life. I went to work in water sports for a governing body in paddle sports. I did a lot of paddle boarding for that job, and also because I had this background in windsurfing that allowed me to be on water, to stand on water without it really being that much of a big issue. So fast forward to 2017, I had a really big heartbreak. Basically, that happened. I had been in a relationship with a beautiful soul for 10 years, almost 10 years. We had a house together. We had um the lovely start of a life, but it just wasn't the correct path. And so this all came crumbling down around 2017, and it was a real big shock to me, actually. It was a real big shock to my system. Um, I spent the next year alone. I didn't date, I didn't do anything. I really focused on myself. So from 2017 to 2018 was huge soul searching. I did a lot of solo traveling. I went to many countries in Europe and in Asia, did a lot of things on my own, and eventually I came back to yoga. So in 2018, I started my yoga practice properly and had some beautiful teachers. And then after a couple of years, I decided that I was going to do my yoga teacher training. So in 2020, well, 2019, 2020, I went to Morocco with Yoga Haven, was taught by Ali Hill and Leon Taylor, Laurent Roux and Amy McDonald were the teachers on the training, and had an amazing, amazing time in Morocco learning how to teach yoga. And I'd been starting to teach a little bit anyway from that point. Then COVID happened. So I qualified as a yoga teacher January, February. January, February, March 2020. March 2020, we went into lockdown. And I had these big ideas of doing community classes. I had kind of a business plan all laid out that was the rug was just taken completely from me. And all of these people that had already signed up for classes, I could no longer really help in the same way that I wanted to help. So it really introverted me at that time back into my shell. I had to look back on the inside and go, right, what do I actually want from this? I'm learning all these skills, but am I learning them for myself or am I learning for other people? And during that time, I discovered three things that are now my kind of core, stable soul offerings. I discovered crystal singing bowls. I discovered human design and I discovered cacao. And really, this is where my journey began. So in March 2020, when we were in lockdown, everyone was struggling. I must admit, I quite liked lockdowns. I was one of those weird people who thrived a little bit out of just completely unplugging from the world and going into my little shell, which makes sense now. I know I'm a manifester and I was spending way too much time around people. So I discovered cacao in this time, and what I would do every day, especially during that first lockdown, was make cacao for myself and for my partner, and we would have it every day, or mainly every day, as a way of coming together at the end of the day. They were going through their own story, their own journey. That's not something that that's not my story to share. And I was obviously going through my own kind of awakening and bringing yoga back into my life and bringing spirituality back into my life as a way of teaching it. And so cacao started to form this bond between us, but also this bond back with ourselves. Because I think that's really important for me to share, because I didn't go on this kind of awakening journey to Peru or Ecuador or Mexico and discover cacao from a cacao shaman, which, by the way, there's not really any such thing. It's something that we've coined as a Western term. Yes, cacao is used in ritual, but it's not used as a shamanism. It is. So yeah, I'm a white person. I didn't come to cacao through any of those experiences. And the reason why I came to it, I believe, is to unlock hearts. So I needed my own heart unblocking. I'd been through this hugely traumatic time of finding myself and finding my independence and learning to live on my own. And I bought my own house and did solo traveling, and then I met my partner now, and I needed to get back to my heart. So I'd done all of these things externally. I'd changed a lot of my external reality to suit where I knew I wanted to go. But it was time then, when lockdown came, to come back and sit with my heart. And the thing I love about cacao is that it's subtle heart medicine. This is not a big ayahuasca trip. This is not something that will burst you open at the very first time. This is something that you have to commit to and sit with and allow your heart to open petal by petal. And that's exactly what I've done over the last 4.5 years. I don't sit with cacao every day now, but for a long period of time, 6 to 12 months, I sat with it every day. And now I sit with it maybe 2 or 3 times a week, depending on what I am working on personally and what I'm delivering personally. And for me, the real teaching is in allowing ourselves to go slowly, to go at our own pace, to allow ourselves to open subtly and gently without force. And it's a real practice of patience when you sit with cacao, because as I say, it's not like this ayahuasca trip that gives you this big awakening. It is very much a commitment to yourself, to sit in ceremony with yourself or with your community, to work through the things that come up at a slow and steady pace. And the other thing that I love about cacao, and the reason why I share it now and I teach it now, and I'm really passionate about people finding their own practice with cacao, not a cookie cutter version of what I teach or what someone else teaches. I want to hear from your heart. I want to experience what you're experiencing, your soul within your ceremony. Is that it is bitter, or it's bittersweet. And I think we go through a lot of life making things more palatable, making things sweeter, making things more diluted. And one of my practices that I share is that I make it as plain as possible, because I want you to experience the bitterness compared to the sweetness and the diluting that happens to cacao in our everyday lives when we turn it into chocolate, when we turn it into confectionery, when we turn it into something that it is not. And I just love that about cacao. We do know it as chocolate on an everyday level, but really that's not what it is, and that's not the medicine in it at all. So I hope that gives you a little bit of background as to why I'm sharing cacao as a practice. As I say, I am not from South America. I've not actually been to South America. I would love to go, and it is on my to-do list for next year. Actually, I want to go and do certain parts of it, because I also am working with a hummingbird as well. So that's a South American, well, American and South American spirit animal. I am not coming at this from a shamanic background. What I really want in this world is for people to come back to their own hearts, to their own souls, and to share a piece of them. And it's this real commitment to working through fear, working through all the nervous system work that we have to do to be able to get to the heart. It's a practice of cleaning up your emotions and being able to express your emotions and feel your emotions and understand the beliefs and the stories and the patterns that sit behind our emotions and our tendencies. And only then, when we've done that work, will we get access to our heart. So it's a path, it's a journey, it's a pilgrimage, whatever you want to call it. But I'm so passionate about people being illuminated back to the power of love, kindness, compassion, peace, harmony, all of the things that we cannot possibly get to unless we tackle the things that require us to sit in bittersweet pain with them, to be able to transmute them, to move them forwards. So hopefully that has given you a bit of background. As I say, if you're looking for a South American person with shamanic lineage, that is not me. I am not going to be your teacher. But if you are looking for someone who is just so heart focused, and I want to empower everyone. I really don't want to be doing this work in the kindest possible way. I want to be hermiting away and sitting in my own practice, but I recognize that it is also important for me to share, whilst I have people asking me to share it. That includes cacao. So I'm being honest to myself, and I'm being honest here in this video, and I hope that if this calls to you, you will be able to join me at one of my trainings soon. So have a lovely afternoon. I am currently sat recording this from the home of Sherwood Forest. I live about 500 yards or so from the major oak of Sherwood Forest, with all the old giant oak trees and the wisdom from the forest there. So I'm sending love from there, and I hope to see you soon.